The antenna is a rather simple affair. I'm just going to try to give a decent representation of the real aircraft. I don't have any photos with good enough resolution where I can really get a good idea of how this thing is shaped, especially the mount on the bottom. So it's going to be a TLR approach. That looks about right. I started with a 4mm carbon fiber tube. It's stiff, lightweight, and the 4mm seems to be about the right diameter compared to the rest of the model. And then the mounting base started life as a balsa block. I first drilled a hole in the balsa block at about a 60-degree angle, which I think is about the right angle looking at pictures. Then I glued in the carbon fiber tube to the balsa block, shaped the balsa block, added red Bondo spot putty, sanded that down, added some primer, saw that I needed some more Bondo spot putty, and this is the second coat that you see now. The real aircraft, it looks like right at the base where it touches the fuselage is kind of a thicker flange. So I added some styrene sheet. This is 40 thousandths of an inch styrene sheet. And I used an oval template and cut an oval, which I think is about the right shape. Again, I don't have a good picture to really show this, so I'm guessing it's an oval and about the right size to go with the rest of the mount. At the tip end, it appears there's some sort of cap. I really can't tell, but I just used a vacuum cap and cut it down to what looked to be about the right size. Gave it some primer. I know it's too thick compared to the rest of the mast of the antenna, but that's as good as I'm going to go for here. As far as mounting, you've already kind of seen, but I'm going to use magnets for this. I drilled a hole in the styrene. See if I can get this off. Yeah, it's a fairly tough magnet. Anyway, I drilled a hole in the base of the styrene and the balsa and have one half of the magnet in. It's not glued in yet. And then the other mating magnet, I drilled a hole. These are 6mm diameter magnets, and I believe they're 2mm thick. And it just fits like that. I believe that the magnet's going to be strong enough to hold the antenna on. The question is going to be with a single magnet, will it prevent rotation? As you can see, I put the magnet a little far forward in the base, hoping that that would help prevent rotation. But if I do have a problem, I can always add a second magnet in back, and I think that'll stop any problems with rotation. Whenever I'm using magnets to hold a part on, this is how I do it to ensure that the magnet faces are in perfect contact with each other. I think the video is self-explanatory. One thing that I've already done that I've not shown is I've already epoxied in one magnet into the base of the antenna. I try to get that magnet face about as flush with the bottom as I could, but that's not really critical because using this method, when you glue in the second magnet, that's where you get the perfect mating between the two magnets. The antenna does sit pretty snugly with the magnets. I don't think it would be a problem in flight, but it does still want to rotate. And even though it was really lined up well with the rudder, when I epoxy the magnets in, it's a little bit misaligned now. And one other issue is this side back over here. It's pulled away a little bit from the fuselage. I did notice on photos of the real aircraft that this base seems to be flat. It doesn't seem to mold to the fuselage. But I think what I'll do, I'll try to kill two birds with one stone and correct the alignment, the vertical alignment of the antenna and try to prevent rotation by adding a little bit of epoxy microballoons to this side. I have my clear packing tape down as a barrier, and then I have some remnant candle wax on top of that as a release agent. I'm using Zap finishing resin because it's easy to measure out. I use 1/2 gram of part A and 1/2 gram of part B. And I'm using deluxe micro balloons. Now when I apply this, I just want to apply around the outside edge. I really don't want to get much in here if I can help it, because I don't want it to interfere with the magnets being flush with each other as this comes together. So I'll do the best I can with that. I made up a very thick mix of the resin and balloons. I want it as light as possible and easy to sand. I just checked the antenna against the vertical fin and it looks to be in alignment. And as far as I can tell, front and aft are right along the spine in alignment. So I think I'm good to go there. The combination of the magnet and the epoxy made the antenna a little hard to pull off, so I had to pull the tape instead. All right, so this so far does prevent the antenna from really moving a lot. It does move a little bit, but I don't know, I might still have to add another magnet here. The excess epoxy microballoon mix, as well as the spot putty, was all sanded back. I gave the whole thing a shot of primer and took a look at it, and I thought it looked pretty good to me. So I'm calling the antenna complete, and it's ready for paint. I have not added a second magnet or an anti-rotation pin yet. I'm going to wait till I get the whole model put together, do my motor run-up test, checking for maximum volt and amps, and see if that prop blast blows the antenna around or wants to move it, and I'll decide what to do at that point.